It's beautiful, practical too, but opinions about it vary widely. Much depends on who's driven which version. There are both good and utterly disappointing ones. If you're looking to buy a used Peugeot 3008, think it over carefully. This attractive, compact SUV was unveiled in 2016, and production quickly began, with the model enjoying a resounding market reception. It's no secret in the industry that attractive cars are popular. It was the first SUV in history to win the 2017 Car of the Year award. In 2018, the first minor change to the engine lineup occurred. In 2019, a plug-in hybrid was offered in place of the diesel engine, and in 2020, a rather significant facelift was carried out. The main change was the front fascia, and indeed, the changes were quite noticeable, but also included the multimedia system and many equipment elements, particularly safety features. The rest remained almost unchanged. Production ended in 2023, and a successor with a more raked rear window appeared in its place.
What kind of car is it?
In fact, the Peugeot 3008 is a car close to perfect. It measures just under 4.5 meters long with a 2,675 millimeters wheelbase. It's spacious, has a large trunk, 520 liters, and is practical, though lacking tow hooks. The interior is made of high-quality materials and well organized. The tiny steering wheel isn't for everyone.
The seats are comfortable, as is the driving position. The car's controls are very pleasant, with touchscreen controls that aren't overly aggressive. The multimedia system takes some getting used to, as its interface isn't very intuitive, but the audio, for example, sounds good.
Driving this car is a pleasure. It's comfortable and relatively quiet, and the suspension tuning allows for high-speed travel and handles bumps well. The safety systems work well. The car was built on the second-generation front-wheel drive EMP2 platform, which was used to build both the compact Peugeot 308 and the larger, family-friendly Peugeot 5008. It also underpins the Citroën C5 Aircross, Opel Grandland, and Peugeot 508. It's worth noting, however, that the predecessor's platform is very similar, with some parts being interchangeable. The front uses a simple McPherson strut design with a single wishbone, while the rear uses a dependent system with a torsion beam. Significant differences only appear in the four-wheel drive version. Power steering is electric. The car is essentially front-wheel drive, but a four-wheel drive version was available. This was achieved solely by an electric motor attached to the rear axle. This was only used in the plug-in hybrid called the HYBRID 4. The Peugeot 3008 has seen almost constant changes to its engine lineup. Let's start with the petrol engines. Initially, the 1.2 PureTech Turbo, 131 horsepower, and the 1.6 THP, 165 horsepower, were introduced. In 2018, the 1.2 PT engine was revised to meet the Euro 6D temp standard, and a significant change was also made to the 8-speed automatic gearbox. The THP engine was replaced by a new, modified 1.6 PureTech, 181 horsepower. This engine survived until 2021 and was discontinued as a standalone unit, but was retained for the plug-in hybrid version from 2019. The 1.2 PureTech, meanwhile, underwent further revisions, evolving into a hybrid version in 2023 with a new electrified dual-clutch transmission. It was in this form that it was carried over to its successor. The diesel range initially consisted of the 1.6 Blue HDI 120 horsepower and the 2.0 Blue HDI 150 and 180 horsepower. In 2017, the 1.5 Blue HDI with 131 horsepower debuted. In 2018, the 1.6 and the less powerful 2.0 were discontinued, leaving only a single version, the 2.0, with 177 horsepower, exclusively for the high-spec GT trim and only until 2020. From that year on, only the 1.5 Blue HDI remained in the range. The 3008 was also available in 3 plug-in hybrid variants with a 13.2 kilowatt-hours battery. From 2019 to 2023, the hybrid 4300 version was offered with a system power of 300 horsepower and four-wheel drive. From 2020 to 2023, there was also a hybrid 225 version, but with front-wheel drive. In 2023, the hybrid 180 variant debuted, offered only this year. The car featured a 6-speed manual gearbox and several automatic versions. In early models, until 2018, it was a 6-speed automatic. From 2017, in the 1.5 and 2.0 180 horsepower diesels, an 8-speed gearbox was introduced, becoming standard across all engine variants from 2018. The exception was the 2023 hybrid 136, which received a 6-speed dual-clutch transmission with an electric motor as an auxiliary. Virtually every engine in the 3008 has adequate power and torque, and most deliver good performance. The least powerful version is the 1.6 Blue HDI diesel, which has its moments of weakness, but it also boasts the lowest fuel consumption, under 6 liters per 100 kilometers. The slightly more powerful 1.5 Blue HDI offers slightly better performance with the same fuel consumption, but performs much better when paired with the automatic transmission. One might question whether the 1.2 PureTech petrol engine is sufficient for a car of this size, but its performance is truly surprising. It performs even better when paired with an 8-speed automatic. Comparable performance, though weaker on paper, but better dynamics, is offered by the hybrid 136 version. 6- and 8-speed automatic transmissions differ significantly. Despite their shorter gear ratios, 6-speed transmissions don't offer better performance, and you tend to drive at higher revs on highways. 8-speed transmissions have such long gear ratios that it's often difficult to use all of them. For example, at 90 to 100 kilometers per hour, 8th gear doesn't engage, but at 140 kilometers per hour, the 1.2-liter petrol engine only has 2,500 revolutions per minute. The same applies to the 2-liter diesel, which struggles to drive in 8th gear at 100 kilometers per hour. Returning to the engines, the 1.6 THP and PureTech units, as well as the 2.0-liter diesels, offer good performance, although the diesels are noticeably weaker than the gasoline engines. Users report fuel consumption of 7 to 8 liters per 100 kilometers for the gasoline engines, which is excellent, and around 6 to 7 liters per 100 kilometers for the 2.0-liter diesels. The hybrids offer comparable dynamics to the most powerful 180 horsepower PureTech. Interestingly, the 300 horsepower version only looks powerful on paper. According to the technical specifications, it reaches 100 kilometers per hour in 5.9 seconds. However, in reality, although it's the most dynamic, its performance isn't impressive. Generally, all engines are economical, and those above 150 horsepower are responsive, except for the diesel version with this power. So there are no bad choices from a driving perspective. However, considering their faults and issues, the engine range is a minefield. I'll start with the versions that aren't even worth mentioning. Simply don't buy the plug-in hybrid versions if you plan to keep the car for more than a year. If the car has any faults, that's one of the biggest pitfalls. You can only dream of finding replacement parts specific to this model. 1.2 PureTech petrol engines have a timing belt immersed in oil. Early models are particularly risky. Extended warranties are available for 1.2 PureTech engines, but only if annual servicing is performed at an authorized dealership or outside, but in accordance with authorized dealership recommendations. If the car meets these requirements, the warranty is valid for up to 10 years or 175,000 kilometers. However, before you decide to buy the car, be sure to take it to an authorized dealership and ask for confirmation that the car meets the extended warranty requirements. The 1.6 THP petrol engine has undergone a thorough overhaul and been renamed PureTech. It's truly an improved unit, built with higher quality materials, and many people praise it. It's not as problematic as the THP, although the main problem is still the oil, which mixes heavily with the petrol, creating a mixture that leads to LSPI, spark knocking. The 1.2-liter petrol engine in the hybrid 136 model is the same 1.2-liter PureTech engine, but equipped with a timing chain. It's too new to comment on at this point. So, if you're interested in this car, out of pure caution, buy a diesel. And there are only very good engines. The 1.5 HDI is a minor exception, as it suffers from a worn timing chain, a short chain connecting the camshafts, so it should be inspected regularly. There's no rule about how long a chain will last. There are 2 widths of chain, and the 8 mm is considered more durable, but there have been cases of it stretching or even breaking.
The risk is so great that the change should be checked every time you change the oil. Other than that, it's a pretty good design. All diesels have an SCR system, so it's necessary to top up AdBlue. This system is problematic in the 1.5 Blue HDI, though it's not a major nuisance. The average lifespan of an AdBlue injector is about 200,000 kilometers. Fortunately, a new injector costs around Euro 70 to 95. All diesel engines also use a wet DPF, meaning Aeolus fluid needs to be topped up. Before a long trip, it's worth ensuring the fluid levels are at their maximum.
The 1.6 Blue HDI engine is the cheapest, simplest diesel engine in the range and generally causes no major problems. It's a good idea to disable the start and stop system to prevent the engine from shutting down too often. This extends the life of the dual-mass flywheel and other components and also reduces the need to add fuel to the oil.
Similar recommendations, of course, apply to all engines, including the 2.0 Blue HDI. This engine is considered nearly perfect and is plagued by minor issues. However, ignoring them can have disastrous consequences. First and foremost, you should always replace the timing belt drive and water pump, and it must be a good quality product. Water pumps don't last very long, often failing before the belt replacement deadline, every 180,000 kilometers. Therefore, this interval should be shortened to 100,000 to 120,000 kilometers, or approximately 5 to 6 years.
The belt itself doesn't break, as the impeller inside the pump shears off, but such damage can cause the engine to overheat and blow the head gasket.
Gearboxes are generally durable. Manuals may not be as precise as Japanese or German transmissions, but that's their nature. Operate the stick gently, and the shift mechanism won't make any noise.
The automatic transmissions are Aisin designs, both 6 and 8 speed. They pose no problems with regular servicing.
There are no major complaints about the bodywork or its corrosion protection. The chassis also resists rust reliably. Slight paint abrasions, especially where components meet, are, of course, normal after years of use. But there's no need to fight corrosion.
The suspension isn't an area you need to worry about. It's simple and inexpensive to service. The front wishbones can be replaced by just the pivots, which are removable. The rear, based on a torsion beam, is incredibly simple and durable, though it does squeak a bit. An interesting chassis element is the struts between the front suspension subframe and the radiator beam. These are mounted on classic silent blocks, which wear out after a long period of time, resulting in a dull knocking sound when braking and starting. A workshop unfamiliar with the subject will be searching for and replacing suspension parts. Overall, the Peugeot 3008 proves to be a successful car with a few disappointing engine options. It's a durable, comfortable, and practical car that you can trust for now. Just don't experiment with the drivetrain. Go for the proven diesels.